Okay, we'll get started. Good morning, guys. So we just seen yesterday steps, right? What are all the different steps? What can be done in a CI pipeline? So irrespective of the programming language, what we use. So these are all the steps that you're going to, configure in your CI pipeline. Here you call it as a Azure build pipeline, basically. So, so whether the team asks for it or don't ask for it, like code coverage or something, you set it up, but you can make it disabled actually. Okay, whenever the team is okay, then you can go and enable it. Okay, that should be the case. Okay, rather than simply not configuring it, because end of the day you have to do it sometime now or later. Okay. So what we do now, we'll go and look into each and every task because for each template that you select in Azure DevOps. So this is the beauty of any PaaS service, okay? Azure DevOps or GitLab, anything, right? So it gives you templates. So uh, ba- uh, based on the application type you select, it gives you the minimum required tasks. And then we will go and configure the additional one what we needed. So yesterday we seen we created a one sample pipeline. I mean, I would say pipeline what we're going to work on, and it has given me already 5 6 tasks. So we'll explain you what are those tasks and why they are. Oh, I did not. Okay. Okay. Give me a minute, please. Okay. Right. So we'll go and create a build pipeline for my ASP.NET MVC application. So it gives me a set of tasks. As I told you, either I can start with the empty job, I can go and add the, so I have to add the similar task. I don't have any other choice because those are the mandated tasks for any ASP.NET MVC application. So it's not MVC. MVC is just an architecture. Any ASP.NET application, you need it actually. Okay. So let's go and create a new pipeline. So as I told you, I'll be using editor. So it's easy to use. If you want to learn ML, right? Once you create the pipeline using the editor, you can see the ML here. I mean, let's go and see it, and you will have the ML option. You can go and see it actually. Then you will see for each and every task there will be minimum 4 5 lines. So if you're having 10 tasks, right, you will be writing a minimum of some 70, 80 lines of code. And AML is case sensitive and AML is space sensitive as well. Okay, let us say for keywords or something, you probably you think that they are giving first one line after next line will be after 3 or 4 spaces, right? You may think that that is for styling purpose. No, so you have to use tabs. So certain things you need to follow it, which is not visible to your eyes. So you may think that it is for styling. You may keep space, 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 and it will not work. It will not recognize. So these are all the things. It reduces the productivity. Okay. So if you are very passionate about it, create like this, and you go and see what is the YAML generated for you. What you can do after that, you can copy paste that. You copy, and when you are creating a new pipeline, you can simply paste it actually. So that is the easiest way. But most of the times you will not be using the YAML. You will be using YAML only when you are working with Kubernetes. Okay. There also, nowadays what's happening since AWS, Amazon, AWS, Azure, everyone has come up with their own Kubernetes version. So there also YAML is getting generated automatically. So because they don't want the people who are using their platform feel difficult, because the moment people feel difficult, they will go with the other platform. So there also it is getting everything automatically generated. And if you want to make a change, you can go to the portal and you can make the change directly to the YAML, or there will be options available to you I mean, checkbox or a radio button, whatever it is, you can simply change it. So they give you both of the ways, whichever you comfortable, you can select it actually. Okay. So the first step in our pipeline creation is selecting the source repository, right? So since I am already in this project, Azure Pipeline Lab, automatically it gives me the repository. Since I have only one repository, it is giving me the Azure Pipeline Lab. This is only, if you have multiple repositories, there might be scenarios, you might be keeping multiple repositories under the same DevOps project. Okay, let us say you might be having some database project. Okay, you can, but these are all under one DevOps project, right? You can keep it under that as a separate repository. So these are the multiple scenarios you may come up with, but you can have multiple repositories under the same DevOps project. But the catch here is Git doesn't support not only Git on Azure or AWS. Git doesn't support to keep multiple solution files under the same repo actually. So that's by design. Okay, you can't do anything because so if you start discussing, it takes hours and hours actually, because it comes under the best practices. They take consideration of the real-time facts, right? That's how they design it. Okay, under the same repository, you cannot have multiple solution files. Okay. So I selected my repository. Since this is a demonstration purpose, we are directly creating a pipeline on the master image. Okay. So when you click on empty job, right, all you will get is just whatever you selected so far, your repository and some agent job. That's it. Rest everything will be empty. Now, if I have to go and add, so I have to go and add minimum 5-6 tasks here and have to configure it. So which is a time-consuming activity for me. So what I do, I'm not going to use empty job. So let me go back. Don't save. So since mine is ASP.C, these guys have given already templates for each and everything. Almost for 90% of your needs, right? You have the templates available. You just go and extend that one. Okay. So mine is a ASP.NET application. So as I told you, it doesn't matter whether it is MVC or web forms or anything. It's just a ASP.NET application. That's why you see the description as well. It is just, build and test ASP.NET application. That's it. It doesn't tell you, it is MVC or web forms or anything. It is just ASP.NET application. That's it. Because these are all different architecture patterns what people use it. Okay. And for you, whatever is the architects are designed, the architects implement in their application, it doesn't matter for you. End of the day, it is just a code for you. Okay. So you see all these are different, right? NuGet 4441. 441 is a version basically. We will talk about it. And build solution, test assemblies, etc. These are publishing the files, everything. Okay. So let's look at the first one. These are very important things that you need to understand. The first one is just a name. Okay, you can give any name. By default, when you create it, it will give, it follows naming convention, right? Azure Pipelines Lab is my project name, and ASP.NET is a template name inside, and this is a CI pipeline. So this is the naming convention that Microsoft is using. If you want to change it, you can change it. So it automatically gets changed. Okay. So you can name it as per your naming conventions. Okay, this is okay. That's not a big deal. The next one is the agent pool. This is what are very important for you. Okay. So we were talking about these agents, right? So if it is a combination, multiple pools, you call it multiple agents, you call it as agent pool. As simple as that. So for every job, you call it as a job, you call it as a build, you call it as some execution. Everything is something working piece, right? For every job, you need some server to run, right? Be it your laptop, be it a server. So it will go and run somewhere else, and then it gives you the output. Okay. So when we do the Visual Studio from the Visual Studio, it will run on our laptop, and it will give us the output in the bin directory or wherever we mention. In the same way, when you are doing this CI pipeline, build pipeline, on Azure DevOps, it also needs a server, right? That is what this agent will. Okay. By default, when you create a pipeline, right? If you select Azure pipelines, you see hosted Azure pipeline under hosted category. That means this is the pipeline. This is the agent that gets created automatically when you run your build. So internally it creates one temporary virtual machine which you don't see actually. If you go and read the documentation, you understand it. Internally it will go and create one virtual machine, and whatever the steps you are performing here, like first it has to get the source code and everything, right? It will go and push all that source code into that virtual temporary virtual machine which is not visible to you, and run all the tasks. And once the output is available, the last step, right? It will be going to some Azure pipelines artifacts. So you have a different types of artifacts. One feature is the last one, Azure artifacts. This is for a different purpose actually. But of course, as I told you, you can do, or you can complete one task in multiple ways. So no one can stop you from doing it. But there will be best practices. Okay. If you the Azure artifacts is mostly for the dependency management. That means to share your reusable components with other people. But I can use it for my release pipelines as well. We will talk about it later. Okay. So it will go and create a temporary virtual machine and copy all its I mean code and everything, and will apply all these different stuff and do the execution. Finally, we get some zip file or NuGet package, whatever it is. You don't need to worry about it because now the system is taking care of it. Okay. So what is here under agent job? So here, right, the first one. So I'm giving the specification here. So by default, you have all these available machines. You have the Mac OS, and Mac OS you have different versions: 10.13, 10.14. Ubuntu is for Linux, and for Windows you have Windows 2012, Windows 2016, and Windows some 1803. It is some version I don't remember. Windows 2019 is the latest Windows Server 2019. It contains the Visual Studio 2019. Okay, and the versions, right, Visual Studio 2015 and Windows 2012. So these are the available things we have. Since we are on the latest, we basically select the Windows 2019. If you are working with any Linux related stuff, let us say you take some Python, right? You probably mostly be deploying on the Linux servers, not on the Windows servers. Of course, it will work run on the Windows servers as well, but mostly you will be deploying on the Linux servers. Based on the environment specification given by your solution architects or whoever it is, you will go and select the respective pipelines. I mean, the agent specific. If at all the required thing is not available here, you can go and use your own server as well. That's called self-hosted agent. We will not be using it here now. When we go to the CD pipeline, right? That's where you realize it actually. So when you go to the CD pipeline, there are multiple options. Either I can deploy my application to Azure PaaS services like a web app or something. I can deploy my applications to my server inside my data center, okay, on premise, and I can deploy my application to a virtual machine on the Azure cloud. These are the different. So in reality, it's all hybrid, right? Few things will go to the cloud, few things will go to your on-premise data center. So it supports all that stuff. So how to create our own agent will be, I mean, will be taught in the CD actually. So that's where you will get the relevant. Here also I can see, but I know it's just a build pipeline, and I'm not using any 10 GB or 20 GB of code here. You don't feel that difference. It's all about the performance and then security reasons. Let us say you are working for some pharma company where they might be having along with the code. Of course, they sign the code; it will be encrypted. There might be some configuration things which is encrypted, but still they don't want to run it on the cloud actually. Certain scenarios which you will not feel during the learning sessions. So I selected agent as a Windows 2019, means this server contains this temporary server contains Windows Server 2019. On top of that, it will have the .NET framework. It will have some required Visual Studio tools and everything. So I'm not setting up anything actually. Okay, and the next one is the parameters. So what I mean, what it has to take and build it actually. So so you can go and I mean I want to build everything what is under my solution file actually. So if you remember, if you're new to the Visual Studio, if you're new to the .NET, okay, let's go and open this. So your extension for the solution file is a .sln. Your extension for the project is a .cs prosh. Okay. So solution is a root which contains multiple projects, one or more. Okay. So in my solution, I have one unit test case project and I have one web application. So I want to build both actually. That's the reason I mentioned. But if you want to build only .cs project, which is a web application, you can simply go ahead and you can go ahead and select. You click on that more button and then you can go ahead and select. Sorry, this is a VB project, right? Yeah, I don't like VB projects. Sorry, let me change it actually. Okay, because nobody uses VB projects. I mean nowadays. Sorry guys, I didn't see the type yesterday. W7. Hmm? You will choose a WC7. No, so here, right, in Visual Studio, it supports all the languages. It supports C Sharp, F Sharp, VB, and everything actually. So yesterday probably I selected instead of I selected this template. See, this is a Visual Basic. So because uh, I used to, I mean, not only me, many people used to have this C Sharp. Okay, ASP.NET Web Application .NET Framework. This is a C Sharp. Okay, let me select this one. Okay, this will give me an opportunity to show you. I mean, somebody yesterday was asking how to remove the project from the source control, which I added, right? I will remove that one. Okay. Okay, let's do one thing. Let me cancel first. Let me remove that actually. So this will, let me cancel it. So now my Azure lab is having this code, right? So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to remove this binding actually. So it's very easy here. So this is my, where is my, let me open the solution. I hate this. Close. It will give me pop-up. I can easily select here, recently used. So this is the one, right? So open this. Now I'm going to unbind, means remove the connection between the remote repository and my local app. So it will be not available on the server. So this is how. After that, I can move this or I can bind this project to some other DevOps project on the server. So you go to the Team Explorer, and then you have a settings here. Okay. And under settings, you have the repository settings. Okay. The last section you see, right, remotes, you have the origin. So for pull and fetch, where it is taking from the same project, right? Azure DevOps ATM session is my organization name, and the next Azure Pipeline Lab is my project name underscore Git, and then Azure is my repo name. Actually, I'm going to remove both. Remove remote origin. Yes, that's it. Now, if you see here, it is locally. This is local actually. This is not on the server. Let's go and see. It should not be here. It has to go actually. Right. Once I remove it, right, now I will go and add it to some other repository as well. But there might be some settings, prune remote branches during.
I think the remote thing we need to commit to the repository, right?
Right now there is no link between my, see, now I removed the link, right? There is no commit. now when I did the sync, right, what it is saying, there is no link between my the solution and the remote repository. So now it is telling me, now you go and publish. So I can publish to some other one. Actually, there should be some setting that as soon as I remove from here, right, it has to delete the repository solution in the repository as well. Okay, let's not troubleshoot it. We will go with the flow. I will show you tomorrow.
Hello.
You are right. You are right. That's what. There are some settings. Let us say I'm working as an administrator, right? So I have the ability. I'm thinking from the administrator perspective. So you have everything, of course. It depends on the permissions, right? If I don't allow you to remove some repository, obviously you cannot remove it. That's from the branch policies and everything. Okay, I will show you. But this is how you can remove it, and then you can publish to the some other project. So for the time being, what I do, I'll continue with my flow, and then we'll see tomorrow. Okay.
And one more thing here, we are able to see 2 and 0, right? Below Azure Pipeline Labs of before that.
So where in the settings you mean to say?
No, in the bar master branch is there. Here 2 is there.
Two oh, you are looking at these commits. This one
Yeah.
you are saying.
Yes.
Okay. So I can't do anything now because it is not. Let's see if you are right. So basically, it has to enable actually because I removed it. There is no connectivity. It cannot do any validation. It is removed actually. So I'll tell you tomorrow. Let me see that. I mean, I don't remember at the time what is that setting actually. Okay. So let's continue with. Yeah.
Once it is moved to remote repository, I think there is no chance of removing. No, so from now onwards we cannot do that. So once the
No,
connection is how it is disabled.
I'm not talking from the solution perspective, which I removed it from the what do you say from the bindings actually. So you have certain Git commands, which basically I was talking about prune etc. Right? If I remove something from local, it can prune means it can delete from the remote. If I remove something from there, even it remove the caches from my local as well when I get the latest or something. There are such some settings which I don't remember now. I'll tell you tomorrow. Okay. So let's go ahead and continue. So I want to select a C# one. It's only my comfort actually. It's and of course most of the not most 100% of the projects will be in C# only. Don't worry about that. So yesterday I selected this one. So ASP.NET Web Application. I'm going with web. I mean C#. So Azure CI demo. I'm just giving a different name. So I'll select the MVC and I remove this configure HTTPS. I will add a unit test case project because I can use it when it comes to the what is a SonarQube actually. Okay.
What is HTTPS over there?
So
Configure HTTPS.
yeah, so this option has come in the recent Visual Studio. Earlier, right? You create some application and you deploy to the web server, right? There you will go and configure the SSL certificates, right? They want to give you that feel even in your local as well. So what it does when you select the HTTPS, when you run your application locally, it will run using HTTPS temporary certificate created. So we are not doing the development. That's why I just removed it. This is for the developers' sake, for the easy maintenance. So let me add it to the source control. Hopefully this is C#. Okay. Publish to Git repo. I'm not changing any project name or something. Let it be the repo name. Let it be the same repo name as a solution. Done. Let's go to portal. The latest one is Azure CI Demo Lab. Now let's go and create the pipeline. So when you are basically doing these things, create two users. For one user, just give the executing the job permission. For other user, you keep yourself. So you can keep shuffling and see the options. Okay. So I'm going to take ASP.NET application template. Okay. Since I already completed, let me directly select this Windows 2019. Okay. Now this is the agent job. So already whatever you selected on the top right pipeline, they are inherited. Again, you don't need to set it up here. Okay. Okay. You have the demands here. This is also a very important thing you need to check. So the demands means what is required on your machine or your agent. Okay. Let us say if you want to run forget about this .NET. If you want to run some Oracle scripts on your agent, you need to have some Oracle related database engine, right? That is your demand. Nothing but your prerequisites on the server to run your agent actually. So what is my demand here? My demand here is on my server, I want to have the MS build. I want to have the lightweight version of Visual Studio. If it installs the entire Visual Studio, it takes hours and hours. So whatever is required for the build, basically you call it as a build tools, not the complete Visual Studio ID actually. Okay, don't worry about it. And then since I am having my test project here, I need a VS test as well. And when you are configuring your further, right, your build pipeline, let us say you want to run any third-party components on this temporary server. Since you do not have access to this temporary machine, right? This is automatically gets created. You cannot log into the server and run your prerequisites or run your required softwares. So the only way you have is using these demands. Go and use the demands. We will see actually when we are configuring some advanced stuff. Okay. So here, that's what you need to worry about it. Parallelism, right now we don't talk about it. Basically, when you have multiple agents, right? I can select a multi agent. Then right now I have only one agent job here because this is a simple application. There might be scenarios where you need multiple agents. Let us say I may add another DevOps, database project here, and but I select a different agent. Okay, so they will be grouped, and then I will name it as web job. I would say web job. Okay, that means for my reference, this job will do the compilation of the build execution of my web application. I may add a database project. We will be seeing the database projects as well. So I will add one more job. Of course, I can add it to the same set of tasks. It will go in sequence. If I can add another job and I can select a multi-agent, it can go in parallel. Means your time will be reduced. The way it executes is not different, but the time will be reduced. We will see when we will go in advanced. So if you go to the visual, so let's talk about something. This is important for you to understand why I added why this template added a NuGet installer there. So you have this packages config, right? So you remember when we selected the project and we went to the bin folder, we only see some 10 DLLs or something. But when I compiled it, when I click on F5, it added some other DLLs. Means that actually during the runtime, it actually downloaded those files from some repository. For .NET, they use NuGet. For Java, they use Maven. Okay, we'll see. I will show you the Java project as well. Okay. So when I'm running from the Visual Studio, when I click on the build solution, it went to, it went and queried the NuGet.r and downloaded all the repository. So we need to do the same thing. This is the manual. We need to do the same thing in the automation as well, right? That's why, since here the NuGet is built in inside the Visual Studio, but on the server it's not built in. So we need to add those stuff. So that's the reason we have this use NuGet 441. So if it is not there, basically how you add a task, we will show. You simply go and click on the plus button, and you can go and search for any task. The first one is use NuGet 441 is just a name. It renamed it actually, but this is the NuGet tool installer. What it does basically, it acquires, it takes the NuGet installer and it installs on your agent machine, because without that it cannot download it actually. Okay. So what it is saying, okay, this is a display name as I told you. You can rename it, whatever you change it here will appear here. The same way what we done for the web job. Okay. So it is taking the latest version, that is a 441. Okay. This control options and output variables is common for all the task types. Okay. Whatever is the task we select, this will be there actually. So control option means, let us say this task is failing. For some reason you want to continue with the other task in the sequence or don't. So if you want to continue, even though it is fail, you can select continue other, but I don't continue actually. I want to fail my build. Anything that is getting failed in my build definition, I want to fail, because that is a minimum, right? We are adding some tasks, that means they are required. So the next, now you have the NuGet installer available, means software available. Now what is the next step? You need to use some command in the NuGet and get downloaded all the respective libraries, and it knows actually, NuGet knows, it basically goes and look into the packages.config and it downloads. Don't worry, if you want to have something, you go, developers, what they do, they go to the packages.config and they make an entry. That's it. And this is the command, since this is a template, added by template, it automatically added that command actually. But you have the other commands. So we use the other commands in the later sessions. Okay. Right now I'm just downloading the required libraries as per the packages config from the NuGet data. That's it. This is a restore command. So this is a SLN file. Star means is, you don't need to give the absolute path, right? Because for the sake, right, you really don't know what is the path on the temporary virtual machine. You don't know whether that is a C drive or D drive. So all you know is your project name. So that's the reason it's a wildcard actually. Okay. So again, as I told you, it will these control options, output variables will be there for every task. And the next one, build solution, you can give any name again. So I said MVC build step. What I am building, I'm building my solution file. Okay. And the Visual Studio version, it's the latest. Of course, we are using the latest. If you don't want, you can go and select it. Okay. But generally, latest version supports all of the previous versions. Okay. And coming to this one, right? MS build arguments. When you are working with open source tools like Jenkins or something, you need to mention all these options. Okay. So there are many switches here, /p deploy and build equal to true, /p web publish method, package, /p package as single file. These are all the things what you will be configuring if you are using some unmatured products, because they are open source, right? But nowadays, if you see even Jenkins, they're also coming with the templates, because they're also tired, because people give the feedback, right? It is taking a lot amount of time, because you need to be an expert to give all these commands. So even Jenkins also, you can go and select a template for even .NET actually. Otherwise, earlier it used to be here you call it as an empty job, right? Then you call it some pastel or something. Okay, it will give you an empty template where you will go and add. But they also now made it very simple. So if you want to, so this is the one you should be remembering here. Build.artifact staging directory. Okay, package location. So means once this is deployed, right, you will get some package. It can be MSA, it can be zip or something, where it is putting it actually. It is putting in the location build.artifact staging directory. This is a variable. So every system comes up with its own system defined variables, and if we define a variable, we call it a user defined variable, right? So in the similar way, even your Azure DevOps is having some built-in variables. Okay, so we can also make use of that one. Okay, and we can also create variables. So this is the variable section. What we do, we will also be using these variables. We will also be creating our own variables during the CD pipeline. That time we will understand what is this. Okay, but these are right now. And these things, right? Build configuration, build platform, like build platform is any CPU, build configuration release, and these are the things what you see in the Visual Studio. Whatever you see in the Visual Studio configuration will be there as well. So where do you find it? Let's go to your project. Go to properties. So you see the configurations here, many things. So build configuration. So any CPU. These are the things what you see there actually. Okay. So every manual will have a automated. I'm just showing these things to you. In future, if you if you don't know something here, you can go and verify there what it is there, etc. I mean, just for your learning purpose. Okay. Let's go to my tasks. So now I clearly mentioned, okay, using MS build, build my solution and put my package in this artifact staging directory. This is automatically given by your job actually. Okay, this is a template. And build platform. This is a variable C. This is, I mean, the variables are declared like this $. Okay, if you go to the variables, we have the build platform here, right? Here you name it as usual, but when you are using it, use a $. So I'm saying any CPU here. And then configuration, this is the same variable. Again, you have these control options variables. It will be there for every task. Okay. And then you have the test assemblies. Everything will be same. So what you are using test assemblies. And then this is a display name, forget about it. And then where do you want the test results? So this is a system variable, some temporary. Of course, you will not have access to this one, but once you run the build, right, you can see the results in the UI itself. So it will come there actually, and you can you have the notifications mechanism, right? You can configure them to email, etc. Okay. For the time being, so let's not get into, we were talking in my slides, I mentioned there are some options to run your unit test cases as well. These are the options. Okay. You can run the test on multiple machines, but when you select this one, right, your cost of running will be increasing, because rather than one machine internally, you might be using multiple machines, which you don't know. Since we are using a free trial, we will not feel that. But once you come into production or pay as you go version, then your building will be ticking as well. Okay, so we will see these things later. Okay, forget about all these things. And the last one, once my build is done, where I am copying all my artifacts, this is a build.artifact staging directory. This is the system variable, and we can browse through this, but we can't log into the machine because this is maintained by the server, but we can see these data from the portal itself. Okay, for the time being, let's go and save and queue. You can give any comment here. I mean, just to represent for my first.
In Jenkins also virtual machine is created.
No. Jenkins is not managed version, right? It is your own installation. So for any open source, right, you have to create your environment. So you have to purchase a server, you have to install Jenkins, and Jenkins is having some architecture, master, slave, etc. You have to configure master on some server. If you want to run your builds parallelly, then you need to have the multiple servers and install Jenkins and multiple servers. So that's a different. You have to do it everything on your own. So now I saved my changes. Leave it. I saved it, right? Let me refresh. Saved it. Why it is showing? Okay, I don't know. Maybe some latency. Let's queue it actually. Basically, that pop-up will come if you don't save something. But I saved it. But still, probably I need to wait till that progress bar finishes.
Since we have created ASP.NET project, if I select Linux machine, definitely it will fail. As agent.
Yes, it will fail because your ASP.NET Core will run on the Linux machines, but ASP.NET will run only on the Windows machines.
Okay, thank you.
So .NET Core can run on Mac, Linux, and Windows, but it is still not yet matured. .NET Core right now, .NET Core is being used only for the APIs, not for the front end, not for the MB. Of course, they're giving it, but there are many features not available. So recently we encountered one thing. So my team is having they started with MVC core, MVC core application, and they had to integrate SSRS reports with the MVC.NET Core. They don't have the plugin. Sorry, they don't have the feature in the latest .NET Core. So what happened? We had to do some workarounds, creating some older version of pages and integrating those pages with this one. Unnecessarily, the team spent around 2 weeks in identifying the issue, and finally they realized that the feature is not available. So I suggest many times, don't use while the systems are maturing. Now for the APIs, let us say microservices or APIs, we can certainly go ahead and use .NET Core. But for the front end kind of stuff, if you're doing a normal some simple application development, obviously you will have all the features available. But if you're working on enterprise application development, it includes a connection to your other systems. It can be Salesforce, it can be SAP, it can be anything, right? Or maybe Tableau, etc. The features may not be available. So before you go and start using the latest versions, first you go and check the documentation, whether your requirements are being met or not in the, otherwise you will feel difficulty later. Okay, now my job is done, everything is successful. Now where I can see my artifacts. So you have these artifacts. You can go and the drop is the name I given in my task actually. Okay. Now, so these are the artifacts that are generated by your Visual Studio build. Sorry, Azure build definition. Okay, you have a zip file and some supporting deployment commands, etc. So basically, when you are doing it, I mean, if it is a 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago, right? People used to do this manually. This automation means using there were some web deployments, etc. We have to install manually those installers and the servers, and from the Visual Studio generate all these artifacts, and then using the tools and the servers, I can import them into my web servers. Now it is everything is automated. You are not doing any installations, or you are not generating anything from the Visual Studio. Everything is here. Okay, so this is how your bill gets generated, and this is a very basic thing. I mean, but these are mandatory for any ASP.NET application. So what we do in the next sessions, we're going to extend this bill definition. So we will go and add SonarQube integrations, and we also make. Let us say right now, if I go to my build pipeline, right? So you can, now this is the first pipeline that's been created. Okay, you can go and edit it.
So can we unzip this zip file and we can access it from browser? So that how end users will be accessing this URL?
No, that will not how it works.
Development.
That will not how it works. Right now, let us say if you want to use some other system, okay, as your release pipeline, let us say uh, use Azure DevOps as a build pipeline, and you want to use some other Octopus or some other Jenkins as a release pipeline. Then what you need to do is, instead of keeping these files on the Azure pipelines, you can store these data into your own file share. So you can create some file share, and you can mention here how you can do. So you have options here. Sorry. So right now it supports two options, because every system should support the other system, right, for the integration perspectives. That's the reason what they did. If you want to add, I mean, if you want to use some other system for the release perspectives, or I would say in layman terms, deployment perspectives, you can take these artifacts with you. How you can take? You use the file share option. So once you give the file share option here, you have to give your so this could be your server, and this could be your folder, etc. You can create some uh, shared folder on one of your servers, and give access to your account. I mean, this pipeline is running under my account, right? You have to give access to that one. That way, you use only build purpose, you use Azure DevOps, and release purpose, you can use some other one. So that's how it works. So this is the best way. Okay, so they given both the options. So any doubts so far?
So here, what I mean to say here, once we generate this zip file, so when we unzip it, what is the outcome? So whether it is a DLL file or what is that?
Yeah, it
When we
contains,
unzip that.
if it is your ASP.NET application, it contains DLLs and some other supporting information. And if it is a console application, it contains exe. And if it is some other mechanism, I mean, it depends on the project type that you selected.
Okay, okay. So DLL files, so if suppose in Java we have generated jar file, and when
Exactly.
we unjar it, what happens automatically a URL is created, so that we can access from browser. So how
No,
these people will
no,
be
no,
using from end
no,
users,
no,
how
no.
this?
No. You haven't deployed this application.
Okay.
When your URLs will be available, when you deploy to the some server, right? I
Yeah,
haven't
yeah,
deployed.
exactly.
I just created a build actually. I just got the artifacts. Until unless I deploy to some server, you cannot access them. We have the
Okay, okay.
executable ready for the deployment. Okay.
That is what I'm asking.
Yeah, that, so I'm just going step by step. I'm not
Okay,
doing the mix and match. Okay.
okay, okay.
Any other doubts?
What is the
We'll be
difference
adding
between
further steps.
GitLab and GitHub?
You want to?
Difference between GitLab and GitHub.
Okay, so if I have to say simply, GitHub is similar to your Azure DevOps. Okay, in Azure DevOps, you have all these features in under one pane, right? Your pipelines, builds, repos, and everything. So from one page, I'm able to do everything. I don't need to install multiple softwares on the multiple servers and do my stuff. So this is a PaaS service from the Azure cloud, Microsoft Azure. In the similar way, GitLab is a company who created a GitLab platform to do the similar activities. So there also, yeah, no, it's not open source. GitLab is a company, that's a paid one. So similar to this one. So even GitLab also you can install on your server and you can start using it. The way we can do for the Azure DevOps. And if you don't want, if you're a small company or you can't afford, you can take the subscription. So you can log into their GitLab website, and you can do whatever I'm doing it here on the GitLab as well. So GitLab is a platform for your DevOps. Git is a company who created the Git for the repository. I mean, to store your code.
GitHub means?
GitHub is the company name. I mean, just your website. It's just a name actually. Under that you have the Git. So it is just a name. I mean, I can't say anything there.
It is also a repository. It's
No.
also another company where.
No, GitHub is a Git only. I mean, so GitHub, if you go to the GitHub, right, that's where you are using the Git.
Yeah.
Now that's been acquired by company name actually.
Yes, company name.
Company name, exactly. So it's been acquired by Microsoft. Like earlier you have the Skype, right? Skype is also acquired by Microsoft. So basically Microsoft acquires everything. They don't want to develop it from scratch. It takes time, right? In the similar way, what we are doing to Azure DevOps, we used to do everything manual, and then we went to the open sources. Now we are going to the PaaS platform to reduce our efforts. We can quickly do our work.
Here, most of the companies will they use this Azure DevOps as a server, as a service?
Azure DevOps is a PaaS service. So you can simply think like this. If you are using some server, you can able to log in. That's infrastructure. If you are using directly for your configuration or deployment purposes, that is a PaaS. As simple as that.
And what is Azure DevOps server? Is it also free? Azure
No,
DevOps
no,
server.
no, it's not free. Of course, it will come again 90 days trial period. After that, it is licensed.
Okay,
You
this
can
is free,
install
and
another app.
it is also for 3 months. That is also for 3 months.
Yeah, both are 3 months.
Okay, okay. And what I mean to say exactly in the reality, whether the companies will use Azure DevOps server or as a service.
I can't tell you because it depends on the company's preferences, right? So, see, again, if I use Azure DevOps server on-premise, again, I'm responsible for all my software upgrades, I mean, server upgrades. I'm responsible for my hardware, networking, storage, and everything. So the whole reason people are going for Azure DevOps is or GitLab is for jumpstart. You can readily go and start doing the DevOps rather than setting up the software, rather than buying the servers, network. It's a huge work.
Okay.
Purna, you are saying about the jobs, right? Whether you are saying, and you have showed us that the multiple jobs can be set up, right? Whether
Right.
there is a possibility of any workflows for it, like today I decided to run particular job in a sequence, and tomorrow if there was if new feature has been added and I want to change this sequence, so if there is any possibility here?
No, this is not a workflow system. So here job is not related to your job in the workflow. This
Okay.
job is nothing but it's just a name to run your build definition, to run your release definition. This is not a workflow. You can change the, I mean, you can change the sequence here and you can make it parallel, but this doesn't work like the workflows in your Windows workflow foundation or workflows in your Salesforce where you give flowcharts and run it, right? It's not like that. This is as simple as some bad jobs what you are running, you may keep it in some sequence, but rather than using command lines, you are using UI. This is nothing to do with your workflows.
Okay. So there is a possibility of changing the sequence, right?
Yeah, you can change it. Even I can change, let us say, I can change these tasks as well. Let us say it is simple drag and drop. Okay. And I can add more jobs as well. So how I can go and add a job. So if you are in the job, you can add a task. Okay. If you want to add a new job, you can go and create. So you have both agentless.
Can we set a dependency between these jobs? Like if particular first job completes on the second job, should run, and if there is an error in the first job, the second job should not go
So
forward.
that's where you have these control options for everything, right? You have this
So in
control.
between the jobs.
Yeah, it will work. Yeah. So we will do this anyways. We will be using. Sorry.
Yeah, thank
Okay.
you.
I'm not saving it. So we will be using it in the upcoming classes. We will see.
The pipelines, first you, the pipelines, when you create a pipeline, first step is you'll be choosing the repo,
Yes.
right? And now you are choosing from
Azure repos.
Azure. Let's say I have a repos from my house.
GitLab, some other external account, you can connect it. So I mean, it's simple. I mean, you just have to give user. Let me do one thing. Sorry. So let's see that one quickly. Okay. So let us say I'm creating a new pipeline, build pipeline. Okay. Here you go and select a new build pipeline and classic editor. And then you want to use GitHub,
No, other Git.
other Git,
Okay.
select it,
And
add connection. So now you have to give the URL from that one. It's as simple as that. And it basically from the Git, right? It will give you the token. It will give you the token. In Git, right? You will get, it will generate the SSH tokens actually. That token you have to copy and paste it here. So you have both the options.
okay, username password is by account.
Yeah, you can give the user ID and password. If you still don't want to use your password, it will generate the token as well. So wherever you are copying the URL, right? There you have an option. Or else in your profile, you have an option in the security. You can generate a token. That's it. That's it.
Here Git repository URL is nothing but the clone URL what we are giving, right?
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, the complete, fully qualified URL. You will have that copy option, right? Complete.
Clone option, yeah.
Yeah, you have to give the complete URL.
Okay.
Is it because my
So when you are trying these kind of options, I suggest you to do it from your personal laptop because there won't be any firewalls or any networking rules. It works. When you are trying from your companies, right? It may have a firewall rules not to allow some websites to be connected. Okay, so that you can do. If you want to troubleshoot, you can do the diagnostics window, I mean browser diagnostics, see if you are able to reach it. That's again your additional work. Try from your personal. If it is working, it should work
yeah,
here.
even if it's personal also, I cannot connect to my office repository.
Office.
Let's say I have a big office.
Okay.
It's not a
Okay.
it was installed in
Office server.
office server. Okay. So now even with my personal network also, whatever it's, I cannot.
They might have set permissions
Right.
and
Both my, I mean, Azure Cloud and this one also both belongs to the same network.
yeah, it depends on the permissions because these
I
are
want to
the
know how to check it. When is there is any
that we have. I mean, these are the networking rules. This is see if you're if you're getting a invalid user ID password or something, that means this is related or permission uh, you need to get the permission granted, etc. That is related to your permissions. If you are not getting such kind of thing, if you are getting some blank and if it is repeatedly trying, that means something related to your network and some blind I mean these are the blind concepts that you need to apply. The moment I get invalid user ID password, permissions are not there. That means my networking is good. This is related to the permissions.
No, I want to just check whether there is an interconnection between my cloud network and this one.
You have to do all your telnet commands, all kind of stuff. So and mostly you are not your free subscription is not part of your AD.
No, not this is set up.
You can check. You can use all networking commands. You can go to your.
No,
You can,
from Azure, how can I check it? That's all.
no, this is a PaaS platform, right? You cannot check from here. If you are using a server, then I probably can log into the server and I can use a ping, telnet, anything, and then check the connectivity. But
I mean, the next session you'll be creating on VM, right? From there, I can able to just ping.
yeah, you will not be able to ping because my server, whatever I create in my Azure cloud, is not part of your.
I can do that.
You can do it, but it will time out for certain. Okay, until unless they have a public IP address which is accessible to internet, you will not be able to connect with it. So these are the networking concepts. So this is as simple as that. All you need is your URLs and user ID passwords and connect with them. But if you are using Jenkins, it is a different story. You will have to copy your tokens in some certain locations.
And all
Yeah.
SSH, I do SSH.
Exactly. So this is easier compared to using other things. Okay, guys, that's it for today. We'll catch up again tomorrow. So we'll be looking at SonarQube. This is where you will see more the most interesting stuff. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.